Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be with you. Thank you for your time, and a thank you to Professor Livia Cohn for the organization. My name is Lokmane Benaicha. I'm French. I live in China, Peking for 16 years, but I'm now at the Xiyou city in Shanxi province, which is the hometown of Lu Dongbin. We will celebrate his birthday anniversary in a few days. So today, I will make a presentation about COT, the journey to the West, the story of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, and I will show you how it is a very important book about Taoist inner alchemy, Neidan. So let's start, and I will share with you my PowerPoint. So everyone have heard about COT, I guess, one of the four classic novels from Ming Dynasty. And as you can imagine, to be one of the four classic novels, it must have a very high quality of literature style with a lot of wisdom inside. That's why all the Chinese have to study them when they were teenagers. And these four classic novels had a very influence in the further Chinese literature. So let's see now a very interesting book, Xiyou Yuanzhi, which is actually a commentary about COT, wrote in Qing Dynasty by Liu Yiming. Liu Yiming is a famous Taoist, and he wrote many commentaries about the previous Taoist Inner Alchemy book. And let's see the preface of his book. And from the beginning, he wrote, COT is a book wrote by Chu Chuqi from Yuan Dynasty, and it presents the union between the three wisdom, Taoism, Confucianism, and Buddhism. It presents also the spiritual practice of the Xing and the Ming, the heart nature and the body essence. It uses a simple language, but hides the mechanism of heaven, of cosmos. It uses a humoristic style, but hides the secret of heart method. And COT dare to share the secrets that the ancients didn't dare to share. Every chapter, every word have been wrote through personal spiritual practice. And COT presents the mechanism of the creation of cosmos, present also the concept of life and death, etc. If you are awake to that, you can be a wise man in the Confucianism concept system. If you can be a Buddha in the Buddhism system, and you can become an immortal in the Taoist system. And COT developed some concept that we can find in two Buddhist books, Fa Hua Qing and Qinggang Qing. Qinggang Qing is the Diamond Sutra. And also developed some concept from the Hotu and Loshu, which are the two numerology diagrams. And also some concept you can find in the Zhouyi, the I King, and also some concept you can find in the Zhouyi Cai Tongqi and Wu Zhen Pian, which are two very important books about Taoist alchemy. So I have only translated a short part of this preface, but you can see that for Liu Yiming, COT is a real book of Taoist inner alchemy with some Buddhism inside, Confucianism inside, numerology, I Ching, etc. That's why COT is the essence of traditional Chinese culture. And Nan Huaqing was a spiritual master, and he wrote some articles and said, COT is not a book to entertain children, and COT contain the Tao of spiritual practice. So let's see about the author of about COT. There is a big argue about that. So the official author is Wu Chang'an for 99% of people. But actually, for me and for many Taoist practitioners, the author is Chu. Why? Because at the beginning, COT didn't have any author, but quite quickly, COT had been Chu had been proposed to as the author of COT during many centuries. It was Chu. But in the beginning of last centuries, Lu Xun and Husher noticed in that COT it contains some facts from Ming Dynasty, and that's why it couldn't be wrote by Chu, who was a Taoist from the end of Song Dynasty and beginning of Yuan Dynasty, the founder of the Taoist school, Dragon Gate, Longmen. But actually, this problem is very easy to resolve because in Chinese history, many books have been wrote by many people during a long time, like the Huang Teenager, right? So for me and for many Taoist practitioners, COT still have been wrote by Chu and complete by his disciples. Okay, but here you'd have to pay attention to don't mix COT, which is a fiction in his form, and a historical book called Changchun Zhenzhen COT, the journey to the west of a Changchun real man. And this book is a historical book about Chuchuti. An important question, can we through theory study the story of Xuandong, of Taoism and Buddhism? And the answer is quite easy, it is clearly no. So Xuandong was a Buddhist monk from Tang Dynasty who were to India to take the Buddhist sutra and bring back in China to translate that. So Xuandong was a real man in China history, but COT used that historical person and change his image, okay? So the change is quite big actually, and there's a lot of romance and fantasy inside. So we are not supposed to study Buddhism, Taoism history and Xuandong history through COT. And also something important to say, COT is not in the Taozong, the Taoist canon. That's why COT is not being taken seriously by many people. But actually this question is also quite easy to resolve. The Taozong come from Ming Dynasty, and I think it's a question of publication time. Okay. So COT is a fiction in its form, okay, but it's explained through the concept of union between heaven, cosmos, and human, the whole process and spiritual and inner alchemy practice, which is impossible to express by words. That's why it uses characters, gods, demons as symbols. And if you want to make some deeper research about the COT, the basic theory of COT is Seeming Witcher, which is also a very important book about Taoist inner alchemy. So when in COT, you see five persons, Xuandong, the master, and four disciples, go to the west to India, take the Buddhist sutra and bring back to China, the journey to the west. Actually, it's an inner journey, okay? And everything is a symbol. So the journey to the west is an eternal journey about the Zhendu or my conception vessel and governor vessel, the cosmical orbit. So if you want to to understand better COT, I advise you also to study the Nating tool and the Xiyou tool. So let's see just the title of the first chapter of COT. When the divine root gives birth, the original flow appears. When the nature of the heart is work and maintain, the great Tao is born. So you see, the name of the chapter is quite clear. COT talks about divine, spiritual, okay, about nature of heart and the Tao. And the first paragraph of the first chapter, it's also clear. Before the chaos was divided, heaven and earth were dissolved. Everything was shapeless and indistinct. There was no human. When Pangu destroyed the enormous indistinct, the separation of the cloudy and the pure has begun. If you want to know about the origin of creation, you should read COT. So you see, it's also clear that COT talks about the creation of cosmos, and it's not a fiction, or at least it's a fiction. It's in its form only. So let's see some few chapters, like the chapter 2, when Son Wukong met his first master, Xu Puti. And actually, if you want to see the spiritual practice, Taoist inner alchemy in COT, you have to focus in the poems, okay? And these poems, you never see them in the movies and the series TV. That's why I really advise you to read the original book of COT and not the movies. So I just translate a part of this poem in the second chapter. You have to take care about the Xing and the Ming, heart nature and body essence, and there is nothing more out of that. Everything is about Qing Qi Shen, essence, Qi and spirit. You have to keep them and don't waste them. If you keep them and don't waste them, you can spread the Tao. And you have also to eliminate the pathogen desire, and then you can get the pure and clear. And then you can fix the dam. So, and then it talks about rabbit and bird connection, turtle and snake unification. But the last sentence is also interesting. The reverse of the five movement. And when you finish this work, you can become a Buddha or an immortal. So you see, it's quite clear. Taoism talks about the Xing and the Ming, the Ting Qi Shen, the Dan. And then if you follow this way, you can be a Buddha or an immortal. The 14th chapter of COT, it's also very interesting. And there is one of the 6 poem of Zhang Botuan in this book, Wuzhen Pian. So COT has 6 poems, and this is one of it. So this poem, it's quite hard to understand, and it talks about Buddhism spirituality. Buddha is heart, spirit, and heart is Buddha. Heart and Buddha are always materia. If you know that there is no materia and no heart, and so it is a real Buddha. And then the body without the body, it's a real body. The phenomenon without the phenomenon is a real phenomenon. And then you see some concept very close from the Heart Sutra: no materia, no vacuity, and no vacuity, etc. So you see, that's pure spiritual practice. The 19th chapter of COT have the full Heart Sutra of Buddhism inside, the full. It's quite short actually. So, okay. And in the 31 chapter of COT, it's talk about the friendship and the conflict between Sun Wukong, the monkey, and Zhu Baitie, the pig. And it said, when the metal, Sun Wukong, and the wood, Zhu Baitie, they can make a kind of a result. And the monkey and the pig, when they are unified, they can create the original dam. And then they can access to the pure land. And it's always non-duality. Non-duality, it's a Buddhism concept, right? And then a very important concept. So this classic, the most important is not the goal, but the path, the way, the process, but himself, okay? And then it talks about numerology 135, and it talks about the work about the pathogen desire, the sixth sense, etc. So when you see COT, about, as I said, it's a inner journey, and these 5 characters represent the 5 elements: the wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And so when you see also these 5 person have some conflict, you just have to think about the concept of a control and engender of the 5 elements, okay? So for example, the monkey represents the fire, the heart. Sun Wukong, the monkey, it's always excited, always outside. And we have to bring back our heart, right? And calm down the fire. Zhu Baitie, the pig, represents the kine, the water, and he likes women, he likes to eat. And we are supposed to save our kine energy, right? And the Zen monk, Shaoshang, represent the earth. And as you know, in Taoist, in Alchemy, the work of the fire and the water is made through the earth. That's why in COT, when you see the monkey and the pig fighting, Shaoshang, the Zen monk, try to make peace. Try to make peace between his two friends. Okay, so you just see fire heart, the pig fighting, water and fire, and the earth who make the connection. So it's a pure alchemy process, right? So Sun Wukong, his name is awake to vacuity. Zhu Baitie, his name is awake to capacity. Shaoshang, the Zen monk, his name is awake to purity. And here there is a very interesting word game in Chinese, Kong Nang Qing. So vacuity is capable of purity. And Zhu Baitie represents the Qing, the essence. The Zen monk represents the Qi. And Sun Wukong represents the Shen, the spirit. So Sun Wukong have many masters, and his first master was Suputi, and in Buddhism history, Suputi was one of the 10 principal disciples of the Buddha. So this is history. In COT, Suputi was the first master for Sun Wukong, and Sun Wukong gained quite easily some magic skills, magic power. I prefer to say extrasensorial skills, okay? And Sun Wukong made some show off to his friends, so he made a show off, and his master, Suputi, was not happy. That's why he ejected him from his center. So here, what you have to understand, Suputi actually it's also a game word, and it means Xiyou, Bukoshuo, and it means awakeness is not to say. And in Taoist inner alchemy or Buddhism spirituality, when you have some extrasensorial skills, you are not supposed to perform and show off. You have, you see, you know, but you don't say. That's why Lao Tzu say, the one who knows, don't say. So you're not supposed to show off your skill. It's kind of humility. Sun Wukong had a second master, the main one, is Tang Song, the Buddhist monk. And his second name is Jin Chanzi, which means the golden sisada. And sisada, it's an insect, you can see here. And here, this is also a very interesting word game in Chinese. Chan come from the Sanskrit, mean meditation. It's also an homonym of a chan, this insect, the sisada. So it's the same sound, chan, but the character is different. So you can see this insect, he can change himself and go out from his previous body and become a new being. Actually, here it's symbol about the body, the materia, and the soul who can be elevated. Okay. So where does come from Sun Wukong? Where does it come from? So the image of Sun Wukong mainly come from Hanuman, a very famous god of Hinduism, a monkey god also, patron of the wrestlers, god of wisdom. He has strength, powers, high fidelity to his master. He has a weapon, and he symbolizes the protection. So as you see, it's quite close to almost like Sun Wukong, who has a strength, high fidelity to his master, weapon, and protection. And Hanuman, this monkey god, exists a long time before Xiyou and Sun Wukong. And Sun Wukong have also its origin in the I Ching, but I will present that in the future. So Sun Wukong have three characteristics. So Sun Wukong represent our heart, our soul. Sun Wukong have 72 changes, transformation, and it's represent the 72 change of the psychology activity. Sun Wukong have a magic cloud, the Tindoyun, and the speed of his magic cloud is about 10,800 miles, and it's the speed of the intention. Sun Wukong have also a weapon, the metal magic stick, and his weight is 13,500 jin. And it represents the circulation of Yuan Qi, the original Qi. So the weapon of Sun Wukong is the metal magic stick. And as you know, in Chinese medicine, Taoism, metal represent the breathing, the lung. Okay, so when the metal magic stick of Sun Wukong can get big and bigger, and also smaller, it just represents the breathing. Okay, like the breathing. So when you see Sun Wukong with his metal magic stick hitting and fighting against some demons, the demons represent our self-heart demon. Okay, so it's a symbolism of using the breathing, who can get big and smaller, like a Sun Wukong stick, to fight our own heart demon. That's a purification process. Okay, and Buddha said, life is in the breathing. So the weight of a Sun Wukong magic stick, it's about 13,000 jin. And in the Huangqi Ting, the internal classic of Yellow Emperor, the book of Chinese medicine. In the Ling Shu, it says that the circulation of the yuan qi in the body is 13,500 circulation. So the Huang Tineting didn't talk about the magic stick, of course. Huh? It just talked about in one day, you have a circulation of 30,500. So you can see again, the metal magic stick represent the breathing, and you can, with the peace of mind and the breathing, you can fight your own demons, and it's a purification process. Sun Wukong used his metal magic stick and hid it in his ear. Why? Because in Chinese medicine and Taoism, the kidney are connected to the ear, and it's also a symbol to the protection of the kidney energy to don't waste it. Okay, it's also a cleaning of the ear to don't be disturbed by outside noise. And I will finish with spiritual concept about Buddhism, but it's also Taoism. Sun Wukong saw the Bodhisattva Guanyin, and he didn't know if it was the real Guanyin or if it was a demon or a demon trick. And so he asked, "Are you a demon or are you the Guanyin, the Bodhisattva?" And the Bodhisattva Guanyin smiled and said, "Sun Wukong, Guanyin, and the Bodhisattva and the demon is just one intention. And at the beginning, there were nothing." So you see, in COT, you have also the question about what is real and fake, Bodhisattva and demon, because in the meditation, in the spiritual practice, you can have some vision, and you have to be careful about that, what is real, what is fake, and then you can go further, and you can have a higher practice. So you have seen that with the preface of a commentary of COT, and also by some few chapters of COT himself, you can see that COT, it's a real book of Taoist inner alchemy, and just use some how do you say that, symbol to express the spiritual practice and of Taoist inner alchemy. Thank you very much. I hope you like that. You like it. And if you have any question, you are welcome. Thank you. Goodbye.